Mr. Brigadier
Yes, my lord.
Gininda, you're still under oath. Okay.
Yes, my lord.
Thanks. Okay.
As the court pleases, my lord. My lord, may I proceed?
Yes.
Thank you. Morning, Brigadier.
Morning, Mr. Ramosepele.
Now, sir, I'm going to start my cross-examination with certain preliminary questions before we address exhibits HH and JJ, which are the confession statements of accused number 2.
Yes.
Now, in your evidence in chief, you testified that you were tasked by Lieutenant General Nkomo, who was at the time the head of detectives, for you and certain members of the police to visit the family of the deceased, being Senzo Meyiwa, in October 2016. Is that correct?
I don't remember the month, but yes, around 2016, my lord. That is correct.
Perhaps to refresh your mind, do you recall if you made a statement to that effect?
Yes, I did, my lord.
Brigadier, I'm going to refer you to A128, which is your statement, and your handwriting is like mine. It's like a doctor's handwriting, so I'm going to ask you to personally read it. My lord, the statement is A128. It's a statement by Brigadier Gininda. I don't think it's complete, my lord. Let me look for the part. Yes, what A128. My lord, let me pack this question. I see the A128 that I have does not have the commissioning part and the other paragraphs. I'll ask the state to assist me in this regard. But you have indeed made a statement regarding this visit to the family of the deceased.
That is correct, my lord, and I do have the original A128, and indeed it does indicate that it was around October 2016. So I
okay,
have
if you go to the back of it and just tell the court when it was commissioned and by whom.
It was commissioned in 2019, November the 29th, by Sergeant Mohula, my lord.
And I'm going to request you, Colonel, with leave of the court, to place the contents of that statement in record.
So it reads as follows, my lord. I, the undersigned Bongani Nicholas Gininda, state under oath in English as follows. I'm a police officer with personal number 0, there's a personal number, my lord, holding a rank of a colonel and stationed at the National Head Office, NATCOM's office. Then I've placed the cell phone number. Paragraph 2, on the 27th October 2016, I was tasked by then Divisional Commissioner of Detectives, Lieutenant General Nkomo, to assist with a visit of the Senzo Meyiwa family in KZN. She further requested me, she also requested me, I think, with my team to assist in that matter when it initially occurred in 2014. I was tasked by the Divisional Commissioner together with the following members: Lieutenant Colonel Ramohala, Captain Mabuti, Sergeant Mohane, and 4 tactical team support members, I wrote Sisiane, Ngwenya, Fusi, and Swahili. On the said date of the 27th of October 2016, we indeed arrived at Senzo Meyiwa's place, where we met his family. We introduced ourselves and advised the family that we will be assisting with the investigation of the said matter in question. The family indicated to us that the son-in-law, Mr. Thope, has knowledge or information that can help us with the direction of the case. We were given the contact numbers of the son-in-law, and I phoned the son-in-law from my cell phone to arrange for us to meet. Mr. Thope agreed to meet us on the very same day in Wimpy, next to his place of employment in Devon area. We met Mr. Thope, where we identify ourselves. Mr. Thope was specifically interviewed by Captain Mabuti in my presence, and his statement written down by Captain Mabuti, where Mr. Thope then took an oath and signed it after the statement was written. It was given to me, and I inserted it on the investigation file, where I marked it on top with my handwriting. The said statement was never removed by me at any stage until the case docket was given by my team to Colonel Shibiri for further investigation. when I was reappointed by the current Minister and the National Commissioner to revisit the said investigation, the said statement was still in the docket when the dockets were given to us by the previous investigation team. Copies of the docket was given to 4 members of the investigation team. This means Lieutenant Colonel Buthelezi, Lieutenant Colonel Ramohala, Warrant Officer Makubo, and later Advocate Ramosepele from DPP KZN. After this said docket were given to these said dockets were given to the DPP Johannesburg for further guidance. The said statement was in all material times in the docket, and when the dockets were given back to me as the lead IO from DPP, the said statement was in the docket and is still in the said docket to date as A116 and A175 correct indexing. After the interview with Mr. Thorpe in October 2016, I have never phoned or spoken or met Mr. Thorpe for any reason to date. I have never taken or written a statement from him directly with my own handwriting or said in any interview other than what is listed above. Then it's the oath, my lord, and where I then signed, and then it's the commissioning.
Thank you, Brigadier. As the court pleases. Now, Brigadier, you state that at the time you were not part of the investigation of Oslo RAS 636, 10 of 2014. Who was the investigating officer at the time?
Brigadier Modise, the late Brigadier Modise, my lord. He was from Gauteng.
And the gist of your A128 is that Mr. Thorpe then made a statement which was obtained by Captain Mabuti. Is that correct?
That is correct, my lord. But furthermore, my lord, that the said statement made or taken from Mr. Thorpe is in the docket because 128 was in relation to the allegation or the assertion that the statement that was given by Mr. Thorpe in my presence, although it was said it was taken by me, is missing. So the gist of 128 was to correct the allegation, to say the statement was taken in my presence by Captain Mabuti and the statement is not missing, it's still available.
And where were those allegations that the statement has now gone missing from the docket? Where did those allegations emanate from?
Well, my lord, it came up when we, so you'll see the date, my lord, it's 2019 when it was commissioned. So one will see that in 2016 I didn't make a statement myself because there was no need, there was no allegation. Then while we were running with this investigation, then these allegations, they were in the media platform, my lord. In our discussion with the NPA, because I did say that there was a prosecutorial arrangement between us and the NPA, this assertion then needed to be addressed, and that is how this statement was made. Not that someone confronted me, it was something that the DPP felt that, look, there is this issue, let's just address it, and that's how I made a statement. Oh, my lord, so Mr. Ramosepele. Furthermore, and I testify about this, my lord, when Docket 375 was eventually then disclosed, when I said, I think I covered that in evidence in chief, with regard to Docket 375 of 1/2019, and we had to make the copies for the defense. I saw also a statement there by one of the investigators making the same assertion, insinuating that the statement taken by Mr. Thorpe is missing. There's something to that effect, and that basically corrects that cannot be true.
Now, Colonel, Brigadier, if you know, prior to Modise, I don't know her title, that you mentioned that she was the investigating officer of this case. Prior to her, do you know if the case was investigated by another investigative team?
Yes, so my understanding, and that is now in relation of what the docket contains, my lord. The first investigating officer that was leading was in 2014. So first it was the DPCI. That is why one will see that when the cell phones were taken from the people who were inside the house, the person who took control of those cell phones as an investigating officer is one Lieutenant Colonel Nittling. He is from the DPCI, that's the Hawks. Secondly, the downloadings of the cell phones were done by Captain Mushwana. He is from the Hawks. The application for Section 205 for everyone that was in the house, my lord, were done by Captain Bomsrang. He is also from DPCI, the Hawks. Captain Bomsrang. He's a Lieutenant Colonel now, Lieutenant Colonel Bomsrang. Now, in few days from there, my lord, then the detectives, provincial detectives, then took over, and then female Captain Mutetwa was then the IO of this matter. That's female Colonel Mutetwa. So Captain Mutetwa, my lord, was also working in the same office or provincial office where Brigadier Modise was. He was a colonel at the time, and there was also Brigadier Ndlovu. So it was the same office, and I'm not sure at what stage who was playing at what role at the time. But I know Captain Mutetwa was the lead IO at the time when I was tasked by the DIVCOM. I know it specifically is Brigadier Modise because when we got to Mr. Matala to follow this assertion by Mr. Thorpe that he told him what is contained in that statement, I was referred to Brigadier Modise to say, we don't know you, this is the IO, and I had to ask him to say, look, we have the request from the DIVCOM, can you allow this person to respond? And I've indicated, my lord, that there was resistance. So that is how I know the presence of Brigadier Modise. Lastly, my lord, I further know that there was a time when the provincial detectives were working hand in glove with DPCI, and I saw that in the docket. All this I'm referring to the docket, my lord, because there was a time where Major General Mukotedi was participating, I don't know whether it was a reconstruction or some form of activities with the provincial detectives. So there was also that joint type of an investigation team.
Now, your further testimony is that your team, where now you assist with the matter, this occurred on the 12th of November 2018, is that correct?
That's correct, my lord. That's when I signed for the docket after being appointed by the previous national commissioner, General Stolle.
And that the officers that were tasked with you were three more, that is Ramohala, Colonel Buthelezi, Warrant Officer Makubo, and yourself. So there were four of you. That's correct?
It was four of us, that's correct, my lord, in a sense that was the specific members, but the cold case unit, which was under my control, my lord, was tasked, in other words, handling this matter. Colonel Ramohala was part of the cold case unit. It is these two members who were seconded to the unit to assist specifically in this investigation, but the unit itself, which didn't have many members, I think it was myself, Colonel Ramohala, Sergeant Mohane, Sergeant Mohula, I think we're 4 or 5, my lord. So we're tasked to lead that. So all the resources or equipments that were needed were coming from that. But second to that, it was then these two members who were then said must work specifically with the case of Senzo Meyiwa, my lord. But to put it into correct context, my lord, the communication during that appointment referred to the four of us, meaning myself, Colonel Ramohala, Warrant Officer Makubo, and Lieutenant Colonel Buthelezi.
And as you now state, as you had previously stated, Warrant Officer Makubo is seconded from DPCI, and Colonel Buthelezi is seconded from the psychology unit of the SAPS based in Pretoria. Is that correct?
That is correct, my lord.
And thereafter, as one of the leading investigators, you then make a conscious decision that all four leading members, I'm not speaking about Mohane Mohola and the others, yourself, Buthelezi, Warrant Officer Makubo, and Captain Ramohala, must be availed with copies of 63610 for bouncing off idea purposes regarding the direction of the case, correct?
That is partly correct, my lord. It's correct in the sense of the last part which talks to bouncing off the ideas insofar as what the docket tells us making the copies, that is correct. But the first assertion that the four of us were leading investigating officers, it's incorrect. The mandate was very clear and the ranking structure was also very clear. I was the most senior person at that time. I was a full colonel. There was no full colonel in that structure. I was the most senior person and I was appointed as such as the lead investigating officers. These other three members were part of the investigation team in terms of the listing, but not as lead investigating officers, my lord.
Okay, I accept that correction that you were the main lead investigator. And your testimony further is that during the course of discussions amongst the investigative team, it became quite clear Warrant Officer Makubo and Colonel Buthelezi disagreeing. Is that correct?
Yes, it became very clear, my lord.
And the differences of opinion according to your testimony were regarding the theory of the case, namely the theory whether or not there were intruders in the house, if there were intruders or if there were no intruders. You and Ramohala believing that there were intruders, and Warrant Officer Buthelezi, Makubo, and Colonel Buthelezi disagreeing, saying there were no intruders. Is that correct?
It is correct, my lord, but it later became clear when, like I said, when I read 375, the docket 375, that there was also, as I said, a statement that seems to, not seem, it says that the statement given to Mr. Thorpe or taken by me is actually not in the docket. And the assertion that was given, and which I think that's where these allegations were coming from, it was to an extent that it was creating an impression that Mr. Thorpe gave a statement that would have been a breakthrough in this matter. And that statement somehow was not filed in the docket by me. And that assertion, and I think that at that time, obviously I was not aware of what is contained at docket 37. It was not even open, but subsequently it was open, and I saw that. So I don't know where it's coming from a lot, but it was there. But it also created the wage, because there was this suspicion where I was not confronted to say, but Colonel, there's a belief that you took a statement. Where's the statement? So there was that. I'm saying, in addition to it, my lord, it was in the background, but later then I came to know that this is there. But yes, there were difference of opinion, and those opinions, those difference of opinion, were in existence right up to the 29 when we had that meeting at the DPP's office, the 29 of January 2019, with the team, meaning Waranto Samakubo, Lieutenant Colonel Buthelezi, under the lead of Brigadier Perumal. It was clear that Brigadier Perumal was saying, insofar as docket 636 of 10/2014, we are still investigating. I remember that the two members in that meeting to the DPP, their assertion was that insofar as that docket, which, like I said, my lord, I saw the file, they were saying the investigation is concluded and, they want a decision. So that was just a confirmation that there was really a difference of opinion, even the approach to this.
And you stated that as a result of the differences, Warrant Officer Makubo and Colonel Buthelezi then went their separate ways, where they then removed officially from the investigation of 636 of 10/2014.
My lord, they went their separate ways. I wouldn't say, I was the lead investigating officer, so at no stage did I say to them they should not form part of the team. It just happened, my lord, that they were not coming through, there were no reports coming. It was clear that there were a lot of trust issues, my lord. So they just went a separate way, my lord. So sorry, my lord, just to add on that, this is the reason why I said in my evidence in chief, the appointment of Brigadier Perumal was then brought in. The purpose was to be the coordinator between the SAPS and the NPA, but most importantly, it was for him to come with fresh pairs of eyes to look into this docket 636 as well as the 375, because it was in existence at the time, and then brief the National Commissioner in terms of these differences that were apparent. I gave Brigadier Perumal this docket. That is actually the only time also where the docket was out of my hand, when he made copies of this. I do know, my lord, as I've said in evidence in chief, that he didn't manage to get hold of the docket 375. There was resistance and he never got it. So sorry, my lord, just to qualify, when I say it's the only time the docket was out of my hand, I'm referring other than the times when it went to the DPP, both in Johannesburg and here in Pretoria.
Now that emanating from your answer as to Warrant Officer Makubo, Colonel Buthelezi not reporting back to you as the investigating officer, and the fact that they do have copies of 636 each on them, does that mean there was a parallel investigation by yourself and Makubo and Buthelezi and yourself and Ramohala and Buthelezi and Makubo on this matter?
I wouldn't say there was a parallel investigation. My lord, as I said, the lines of engagement, and that is the protocol, because I was not told officially there's a parallel investigation. When an instruction is given that this is the lead investigating officer, that is instruction. Protocol must be observed. That is now the discipline that we are taught in the police. Secondly, the chain of command in terms of seniority was very clear as to who is the leading investigating officer, other than the appointment itself. So there is no parallel investigation that I'm aware of. That's to answer Mr. Ramosepele's question. Secondly, there is only one docket, my lord, that relates to the death of Senzo Meyiwa, and that is docket 636, Phosphorus 636 of 10/2014. What I know insofar as what could be termed parallel, and I don't know how, my lord, is that docket 375 of 1/2019 was then opened, and I've heard this assertion that is parallel, but as I said in my evidence in chief, that is a docket of defeating the end of justice, not murder. So I'm not sure how the two can be parallel, because this is murder, this is defeating. This occurs in 2014, the docket of defeating gets opened in 2019. So I'm not aware, my lord. I know that there's been talk that parallel, but there's no parallel insofar as I know, my lord. Lastly, my lord, on that aspect, as I've said again, that on the 29th of January 2019, when we met at the DPP's office, Lieutenant Colonel Buthelezi and Warrant of Samakubo, the docket that I saw, not perusing it but seeing the file that they said, and obviously I picked it up during the discussion between Brigadier Perumal, the DPP and them. As I said, it was not a conducive meeting, but I do recall that the docket that they brought forward was said, we are done with the investigation. It was in relation to 375 of 1/2019. I did not see them or hear them or observe them saying, here's 375 and here's the district's docket. They were simply referring to 375, and that is why I'm saying I'm not aware of any parallel investigation. Hence, on our side, meaning Brigadier Perumal and obviously I was in his company, insofar as this matter, we're far from over, my lord, at that time.
You further stated that Makubo and Buthelezi are the current investigators of 37501 of 2019.
Yes, my lord, insofar as I know, correct.
And further that the A1, the complainant in 37501 2019, according to the information you have, is Warrant Officer Makubo.
Yes, according, I said, my lord, specifically according to the system, in other words, the case system of the police, it indicates that it's Warrant Officer Makubo, my lord.
And now, having had access to 37501 2019, and by access, I'm not saying perusal, I mean the time when you had it, when an order was made that disclosure of that docket should be made available to the defense team in this matter. If you can answer it, you can. If you can't, you can't.